Alright guys, let's go. This is DM and welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be doing something a little fun, a little different. In case you haven't been paying attention, in case you don't pay attention, in case it's not your thing, well, I hope it's your thing because you're watching this video, but in case it's not your thing, then maybe check these kind of things out, these spoilers out. It has begun spoiler season for Aether Revolt, which is part 2 of the Kaladesh plane for Magic the Gathering. They got a couple cards leaked, which I'm going to show you guys, and then they got a couple cards spoiled, which I'm going to show you guys. Some of them I'm very excited for, and I'm going to tell you why as we go through. So I'm not going to waste too much time. I will tell you this. So my original impression on Kaladesh was that I enjoyed the fact that it was supposed to be artifact driven. I believe there are a lot of good cards that came out of the set. I bought a lot of singles for my commander decks, and because I'm a commander player, I think I'm very biased in this, and I think I said this one of during some kind of a video for Kaladesh, but overall, I'm not excessively thrilled with Kaladesh. And I'll tell you why. There are three new mechanics. They had Fabricate, which allowed you to put a number of 1/1 counters equal to the Fabricate number on the creature with Fabricate, or create that many 1/1 servo creatures, which are like the new ground version of Thopters, I guess. I really like that one. I thought that one was really good. Actually, I have a couple of Fabricate cards in one of my commander decks. My artifact deck, I believe, my Brea. Um, so I enjoyed that one. However, the other two mechanics, one was Crew, which was specific just to vehicles, and vehicles were kind of like a new thing as well. I'm not crazy about it. I understand in standard that it's doing amazingly, and hey, that's great for standard players. I'm a commander player, uh, so it's not that I'm not crazy about crew. Let me get deeper into this. So I'm not unhappy with the crew idea. I think it could be good if they use vehicles outside of just Kaladesh, right? So and here's kind of where I'm getting this from. When we did Zendikar, they announced, and I thought they were going to be completely changing the game by introducing Waste, a sixth basic land type. It's a colorless basic land type, right? I thought that was going to be crazy. Artifact decks, colorless decks were about to get this huge, huge boost. And that was going to be amazing. That was going to be a lot of fun. It was going to change the game a lot. And I was fine with that. But then we went from Zendikar back to Innistrad, and there are no Waste. Even though the world draws these, we didn't have Waste anymore. So to do these like one-off big changes like this, or one-off mechanics, like yeah, I know you can't make every mechanic an evergreen mechanic, but like we did Eldrazi's for two in a row between Zendikar and Innistrad. So I kind of wish, I guess, they would do something a little bit more extendedly so that it could have a bigger impact on things outside of just standard. Because for right now, standard, again, vehicles are really dangerous, really super awesome, and that's great. But what are you going to do after that? Are vehicles going to be a big thing in even other formats, modern, legacy, vintage, what have you? I don't know. I haven't heard too much about it, but then again, I don't follow those formats a lot. I know as far as commander, vehicles to me are not really all that impressive. Even in my artifact deck, that's me personally. I haven't seen anything that was really so worth it to put them in there. So to me, crew is kind of a silly thing. And then the other mechanic that they had was shit, fabricate crew. Oh, that's right, energy counters. Right, when you play certain cards, you get energy counters. They reminded me a lot of experience counters, and then you could use these energy counters as kind of like a new resource. So again, big change to the game where you could be utilizing that a lot. But if it's just going to be for Kaladesh, and then we're going to go to the Egyptian plane after this, Ankh-Mohet or something, um, obviously you're probably not going to be getting energy counters. You're probably not going to be having vehicles because it's supposed to be, again, more Egyptian themed, and it's going to be, I heard we're going to get gods again. I'm pretty sure Nicol Bolas is going to be in from the image that they spoiled for it. So with all that in mind, you're probably not going to see these mechanics again, at least not for a very long time. Maybe if we go back to Ravnica, they could do something like that. Maybe Jace would bring something back, or a Planeswalker would go from there to Ravnica, or Tezzeret, who, spoiler alert, Tezzeret's going to be in Kaladesh. If you didn't realize that from the first Kaladesh one, you weren't paying attention. But he's going to be in Aether Revolt. He's actually going to be one of the cards that we look at today. Well, one of his forms. I'll explain it later. He's going to be. We're going to look at a Tezzeret card today. But yeah, so maybe he's gonna go to another plane and bring like vehicles and some of the stuff with him. But if not, if we never see vehicles again, if we never see crew again, if we never see energy again, I don't like mechanics that are just one-offs or can't be applied to something bigger. Like vehicles, if it had just been like, I mean, they are artifact creatures. It's weird. Maybe they can be applied. Maybe they will find their niche in artifact decks. Hopefully, not again, not just in Commander, but in Modern, Vintage, Legacy, whatever. Uh, but for right now, I don't really see that happening. So I'm always kind of disappointed when we get something that's so cool and then doesn't really do anything. I mean, shit, we just had Madness reprinted at least for the first time in a while. So who knows? Maybe down the line they'll reprint some of these mechanics, and then it'll be good. I really hope Fabricate stays around. I think Fabricate's really cool. Anytime you really have an artifact one, it does really make sense to have it. Vehicles kind of has to have that theme going. That plane has to have the theme where their artifacts have evolved to, or not evolved, but been developed to the point where they're vehicles. Um, and then energy counters, again, you have to be saying that you have some kind of energy, I guess. But enough about that. I do want to talk about these cards. I think there's a total of 8-ish or so. Again, I think I said in the beginning of the video, 4 of them were leaked. We're going to look at the leaked ones first. And the first one, I'm going to pop right into Yahini's Expertise. For 2 black and black, it's a sorcery. All creatures get -3/-3 until end of turn. You may cast a card with converted mana cost 3 or less from your hand without paying its mana cost. So for 1, this is an awesome card all by itself. -3/-3 is going to wipe most fields, especially in Standard, especially in Modern, especially in some of the other formats. Even in Commander, you're going to wipe a lot of creatures. A lot of creatures. Sometimes people's commanders. Sometimes people's whole fields. I have a deck that's basically built off getting 1/1s and 2/2s, and I think only a few of my a few of my creatures have a toughness over 3. So you're gonna wipe most of my field if you play this card, and then you get a free spell on top. So for, let's say, Languish, I believe it's either 3 black black or 2 black black, and all creatures get -4/-4. So let's say it's 3. I think it's 3 black black, and all creatures get -4/-4 until end of turn. So for 1 mana less, you get, it's a little bit weaker of a wipe, but then you get a 3-cost card on top. So you're really getting a 2 mana cost advantage, I guess you could say. No, yeah, you're still getting like a 7 mana cost advantage for this. The reason why, just so you guys know, I wanted to start with this is Yahini's Expertise. Who the hell is Yahini? I don't know if it's 100% true. I saw it on Facebook kind of fleetingly, but it looks like Yahini is an Aetherborn vampire. For those of you who know me or know anything about me, I'm super excited about vampires all the time, every time. So I'm hoping he's going to be a legendary, whether he's a vampire or not. The other Aetherborn we had from Kaladesh was Gonti, Lord of Luxury, where he basically allowed you, when he entered the battlefield, you got to look at the top 4. I can't remember if you exiled the top 4 or you looked at the top 4 cards of an opponent's library, exiled the spell, and then you could cast that spell later on and use mana of any color to cast that. And then either they exiled or they went to the bottom of the library in a random order. It is one of the most fun commanders I've seen. Commander Versus did it very well. Justin Parnell, I believe, played it, and I believe he won with it. It was really cool. It went very well with Panharmonicon, Conjurer's Closet, and any other way you can think to bounce your commander up and down. So I was really excited about him. Yahini, I'm hoping, is going to be another awesome commander. So I'm really looking forward to that. The next one is Trophy Mage. For 2 and a blue, she's a human wizard creature. When she enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an artifact card with converted mana cost 3, reveal it, and put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. So this is, it looks like it's a common. I can't really tell. But for artifact decks, I think this is going to be really cool. Again, I do have an artifact deck right now, so I'm always tweaking it. I'm always trying to refine it. The fact that its converted mana cost has to be 3 limits it a little bit, but there are a lot of 3 mana cost cards that are very good, especially that are artifacts. I think if it had been 3 or less, it would have been amazing, or if it had said converted mana cost 4. 4 probably would have been a little bit broken. Trading Post, Solemnum Simulacrum is 4 mana, those are both 4. Guild Lotus I think is 5, but Thran Dynamo I think is 4. A lot of mana rocks are 3, so that's kind of good. I mean, you could go out and get a pretty cool mana rock. 1 Power Stone I think is 3, so you cast this, you go find 1 Power Stone, and then you get 2 extra mana next turn. Especially if you cast it turn 2 or 3, depending on how mana rampant you are. Again, I could see this probably Oh, okay, here's a cool comment right here. It's a narrow tutor, but I like it. Quite a few nice mana rocks and equipment at 3. Oh, Fire Shriekers 3. Are the swords 3? Dark Steel Plate is 3. There you go. That's amazing. I do want this for a specific deck. At 3 cost for Commander, so I'm happy to see it. Is it as strong as Trinket Mage? Of course not, but still good and always welcome. I mean, come on and fetch his Dark Steel Plate and all the swords. Okay, so all the swords of Feast and Famine, swords of Body and Mind, I think. So all 3 or 4 of the swords are 3 mana cost equipments. I didn't even think about equipments. That's super crazy. I can think of, again, Friar Shrieker right off the top of my head. Luxon Warhammer is 3. That's a really good one. So there's a bunch of artifacts that you can go find. Or I'm sorry, not just artifacts. Equipments that you can go find. So this is going to be great for Voltron decks that run blue. Um, any really kind of artifact decks, because again, there are a lot of good artifacts out of 3. Again, 3 or less probably would have made it better, but of course, if it's a common or even an uncommon, they didn't want to break it too much. Still a good card, still looking forward to getting it, still looking forward to putting it in a deck. Oh, I like this one. I like this one so much. Speaking of mana artifacts that cost 3, Scrap Trawler is a 3-cost artifact creature construct. Whenever Scrap Crawler or another artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, return to your hand target artifact card in your graveyard with a lesser converted mana cost. Holy shit, man. Holy shit. So, it's funny that they actually have Junk Diver in here under the Thesaurus, because that is a 3 mana artifact creature with flying. It's a 1/1, and when it is put into the graveyard from play, return another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. So if this dies, if Junk Diver dies while you have Scrap Trawler out, you get a 2 mana cost and any other artifact you want from your graveyard to your hand. Artifact decks are going to love this. In Commander, if there is any artifact in Modern or Vintage or Legacy, they're going to love this card. I believe it is a rare. It looks rare. And I can understand why. This thing being out on the field, imagine a board wipe when you have a lot of artifacts. Oh, recursion out the ass. Recursion out the ass. Great, artifact decks already have a lot of recursion. They're just built in with it. There's so many things. Again, Junk Driver, Diver, Diver, Driver, Drunk Driver, Junk Diver. Again, is just one of like 3 or 4 that are basically meant for you to recycle and recycle and recycle so that you can always be doing something with your hand. Oh, and this guy in the comment section brings up a good thing. A good point. Metalwork Colossus lets you sacrifice any even number of artifacts as you please, so long as it's in the graveyard. Which again allows you to recur so much from the graveyard. And then who was it? John Suarez played Brea in Commander Versus and pitched a lot of artifacts between Duretti and then sacrificing cards with Brea for -4/-4 to the other commanders. Into a lot of artifacts into his graveyard. Imagine now if he had a Scrap Trawler out where every time he sacked an artifact to do something, because he sacked Brea a few times, who's a 4-cost, he could get something back. It's going to be sick. It's going to be ridiculous. I can't wait for this for Brea. Alright, the next one and the last one, I don't actually know what this one does, so I'm going to have to read it. Quicksmith Rebel. For 3 and a red, it's a human artificer creature. When Quicksmith Rebel enters the battlefield, target artifact you control gains tap. This artifact deals 2 damage to a target creature or player for as long as you control Quicksmith Rebel. And it's a 3/2. Okay, so right off the bat, I have thought of something kind of cool. Imagine if you gave Howling Mine the ability to tap to deal 2 damage. Think of just, it's not like super strong, but the fact that you are now giving something that maybe didn't do anything, or the Mycosynth Wellspring, which all it does is when it enters the battlefield and leaves the battlefield, you can go fetch a land. You can now give these artifacts that don't do anything except the recursion thing an extra little thing. Howling Mind, imagine if you have a way to untap an artifact, right, on your field. At the end of your turn, you tap it to deal 2 damage or something. Howling Mind is now tapped. People don't get to draw that card. And then if you can untap it at the turn right before you, when that one goes to end, you then get to draw a card. So now you get to deal 2 damage, these extra little 2 damage out for free, because who cares if Howling Mine is tapped, but you are still maintaining your ability to draw a card. Things like that Again, it's not super strong. I wouldn't build a deck around it, but there are going to be some nice little interactions, again, with artifacts that sometimes just sit there. I mean, shit, Spine of Isha, 7 mana, when it enters the battlefield, it destroys something. When it goes to the graveyard, you shuffle it. Or either it comes back to your hand or you shuffle it back in your library. I can't remember which off the top of my head. But now, you wasted 7, not wasted, but you put 7 mana out to get rid of somebody's big permanent. Now, you can make this thing still have more worth by just ding, 2, 2, 2. God forbid you have an unwinding clock, and at, you know, every chance you get, you just tap it for 2. Tap it for 2. Every turn, tap it for 2. Could get annoying, could get funny. Again, artifacts I think are going to like this card. It's not going to be super broken. It's a rare, but still. You could even give it to your commander. You could give it to Brea. Now she can tap to deal 2 damage, just like she could tap 2 mana, or yeah, 2 mana, sack 2 artifacts, and shoot somebody for 3. Now she can think. Now it's 5. It's not bad. It's cool. I like it. It's moderately strong for a rare, but not super strong. Alright, so this is a new one. And we're going to go back to vehicles, which again, I'm not crazy about, but this one actually, I read this one. This one looks pretty cool. For 2 mana, this legendary artifact vehicle is a flying and vigilance 4/4. That's already really strong. I understand that, you know, you have to crew and blah blah blah. Crew is 3, so you have to have a number of creatures with power equal to 3 to tap to basically man this vehicle. You may remove a loyalty counter from a planeswalker you control rather than pay Heart of Cairness's crew cost. If you're running kind of a super frenzy deck, this is a really good card, especially if you are finding ways to get extra counters on things, whether it's through Proliferate, you have a Chain Veil. If you're running green, you have like a Doubling Season. Is Doubling Season the one that does all counters? Whichever enchantment it is that does counters get doubled. It could be really good for you to have this because it's flying and vigilant, so you can remove a counter from any planeswalker, maybe one that doesn't have like a super broken ult, hit somebody in the air for 4, still have a blocker up. Oh no, because it'll only be until end of turn. Oh, but you can activate. Okay, yeah, you can activate it then as a defensive thing. So maybe you don't want to attack with it. Maybe you can keep it back for defensive. That's still fine. That's still cool. You can still do it. Because I'm assuming you can remove the loyalty counter at any time. But I get the feeling that this will see play in Super Friends decks. Again, even if it's only kept as a defender. Alright, so let's get into some of the other fun cards. So, there were 3 Planeswalkers revealed in the past day or so. 2 Ajanis, because again, you gotta remember that we are now going away from like the dual decks and getting into what's called or not dual decks, the intro decks, and getting into what's called Planeswalker decks, where you get a specific Planeswalker, but it's a different kind. So, this Planeswalker is the not Planeswalker deck one. This is the one that you're gonna have to open packs to get or buy as a single. Ajani, he doesn't say the unyielding. That's Saskia. Sorry. Ajani unyielding. All the unyielding. For 4 a green and a white, Planeswalker Ajani comes in with 4 loyalty counters. His +2, reveal the top 3 cards from your library. Put all non-land permanent cards revealed this way into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in any order. So enchantments, creatures, artifacts, right? Because it's non-land permanent, so not lands, not sorceries, and not instants. So you have, or Planeswalkers for your Super Friends decks. Okay, cool. I didn't even think about that. So you can be digging for Planeswalkers and still setting yourself up to get this ult. We're going to get to the ult in a second. -2, exile target creature. Its controller gains life equal to its power. Great removal, protects itself. It does kind of help the other guy, which that's what you're going to get when you're talking about removal with white. What are you going to do? But still, exile target creature. That means somebody's god, somebody's indestructible creature, somebody's creature with maybe protection from everything other than green and white, or maybe even protection from creatures. Like Tessa, or something with a... Is it Holy Mantle that gives you protection from creatures? Or is it... No, Spectral Ward gives you protection from colors, so that will protect against this. But Holy Mantle gives you protection from creatures. So you can still get rid of something like that. Now, his ult. Let's talk about why this is going to be the Super Friends Planeswalker right here. -9. So 4, turn it comes in, you plus it to get to 6. Then it would get to 8. Then it would get to 9. So it has to be out for 4 turns total. which is about average. Put 5 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control, and 5 loyalty counters on each other Planeswalker you control. So let's talk about how stupid this is. Whether you use his plus or his minus, unless he takes damage, if you can find a way to protect Ajani Unyielding, he's going up in even numbers, and his minus is an odd number. So when you ultimate him, if you've kept him safe, or if you've somehow taken an even amount of damage, he's going to stay on the field with only one counter, but he's going to stay on the field. That's already really strong. A lot of other Planeswalkers, when you ult, even if they're left alone, they kill themselves unless you try to take another turn, in which case you're running the risk of somebody trying to drop you down. You always want to ult most of your Planeswalkers as soon as you can. 5 1/1 counters on each creature you control in a white and green deck. Green's going to have big creatures that trample, white's going to have a bunch of little tokens, and you're about to pop off. Pop the hell off. So if somebody ults Ajani Unyielding in a green-white deck, even if it's just a token deck, and let's say you have an Avenger of Zendikar, Pathbreaker Ibex, Crater Hoof Behemoth, it's probably freaking game. It's probably freaking game. Then let's say you are doing a Super Friends deck, and the only creatures you have are maybe the creatures that your Planeswalkers generate, Garruk, etc., etc. Now, all those other Planeswalkers, even if they just came out, they're probably ulting this turn. They're probably ulting this freaking turn. Because 5 loyalty counters is a lot of loyalty counters. A lot of Planeswalkers will start off at, like, let's say, a 4 and ult at a 6 or a 7 and have a +1 instead of a +2. So you put down a 4 and it goes off at an 8, you just got to ult your Planeswalker for free. I mean, you have to pay to play it, obviously, but you just ulted it for free. I cannot tell you, I'm already seeing it. I think when we did the reveal, I talked about Atrox is going to become like the infect commander because she proliferates, so poison counters, if you get a poison counter on one person, your commander is basically saying, I'm going to slowly kill you. This is going to go in somebody's Super Friend Atroxa deck. I'm telling you right now, this is going to be in somebody's Super Friend Atroxa deck. And it's going to be amazing, and it's going to be stupid, and I love it. Because that's how strong it is. So let's move. Again, I can't speak too much about this one. It's a mythic rare. It has to be a mythic rare. It has to not be all over the place. Oh, spoiler alert. They already revealed the other Ajani. But let's not talk about it. Or actually, I think that's the next one. It is. Okay. So the next one is the Planeswalker version of Ajani. The Planeswalker version of Ajani. The Ajani you will get in the Planeswalker deck. Let me call it like that. Ajani, Valiant Protector, is again a cost of 4 green and white. Planeswalker Ajani again comes in with 4 counters. Very similar. Has a +2. Very similar. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature. Fine. It's decent. +1. So it doesn't have a minus. So that's already really cool. Reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature card. Put that card in your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So you're not even going to take a minus. And you're possibly going to, I want to say, cascade into some kind of defense for Ajani. So turn 4, 5, 6, depending on how good your ramp is. Again, you're playing green, so it should be pretty good. So let's just say turn 5, average turn 5. You're going to put this down. You're going to +1 him. You're going to find a creature to protect the Ajani, and hopefully by now you've gotten a creature or two just to defend in the early rounds. Do you see how like crazy that is? Like, I don't know, maybe it's just me, because who knows what that creature is going to be. It's not a creature card where it's not like a -X, right, where you have to reveal a creature card with converted mana cost X or less. It's just find the next creature card. It could be something silly like a Mana Dork. It could be something silly like an Evoke guy that brings back something from the graveyard to your hand. You know, Karmaic Guide. But it could be a Crater Hoof Behemoth. It could be Stonehoof Chieftain. Trample Indestructible gives attacking creatures trample Indestructible. It could be an Avenger of Zendikar to get a bunch of little blockers. It could be Dragonlord Dromaca. Can't be countered, lifelink, flying. You know, it could be something amazing. So it depends, obviously, on how you build your deck. Again, I could even see putting this in a Super Friends deck. Maybe not over the other Ajani. I'd probably want the other Ajani. But still, pretty cool. And then we haven't even got to its ult. -11. So, again, This one's a little different because you can go up in odd numbers, so you could get from 4 to 11, and then you have to kill him. Kill him. You have to ult him by taking away all his counters, but there's also a chance of not doing that depending on how the game's going, how your board state is going. -11. Put X +1/+1 counters on target creature, where X is your life total. Where X is your life total. In green and white in Selesnya colors, where the Selesnya guild leader said every time a creature enters the battlefield, you gain life equal to its toughness. You know what else is green and white? Well, green. Tree folk with big butts. You know what else is green? Lots of other cards with big toughness. You know what else is white? Lots of other cards with big toughness. So like you can do a life gain deck and then poof, I'm just gonna ult my Ajani over here. My commanders now got +60, and they're counters. It's not until end of turn, it's counters. So yeah, okay, removal, of course, that's always a problem whenever you're talking about counters. If you put this in a Super Friends deck with Atraxa and then have Rhea in there, the green-black commander that states that whenever a creature with +1/+1 counters dies, you can move the +1/+1 counters to another creature. Now what do? And that's not even it. That creature gains trample until end of turn. Let's say you got a Grand Abolisher out. So now you don't have to worry about removal because you're about to kill somebody. You have a Pathbreaker Ibex or a Craterhoof Behemoth or you want to run Overwhelming Stampede, you're probably killing everybody. This is still a really good commander. I think they did these Planeswalker Planeswalkers decks, these Planeswalker versions for the Planeswalker decks a little bit stronger than they did the last ones. The last one was Chandra and Nissa. The Nissa, I wasn't crazy about her. The Chandra was okay, I think. I'd have to go back and look. But yeah, this one and then the next one I'm about to show you, I think are a lot stronger than the Chandra and the Nissa. And the fact that they're two colors is no joke. All right, here we go. Spoiler alert: Tezzeret's back. He's the big judge for the Inventors Fair that they were doing in Kaladesh. If you follow along with the lore, Chandra comes back to basically like reclaim her home plane from the people who drove her away. Apparently, Tezzeret's working with the people who drove her away. Whether he is or is not one of the people driving her away back in the past, we don't know. So Tezzeret, Master of Metal. So again, you already know he's an artifact commander. So you know I've been talking about artifacts this whole thing and how I have an artifact deck. So I'm kind of excited. For 4, a blue and a black, Planeswalker Tezzeret comes in with 5 loyalty counters. So that's a lot. +1, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal an artifact card. Put that card in your hand and the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. That's amazing. I mean, I ran Arkham Daxon, I believe, which was for 3 and a blue, tap him, reveal X number of cards off the top of your library. X was the highest converted mana cost of artifacts you controlled. And I ran Darksteel Colossus, who is an 11. So at the most, I could look up the top 11 cards of my deck, look for an artifact, and put it on the battlefield. This is not quite that strong, but when it's a Planeswalker where Arkham Daxon is pretty stupid too, because you can find ways to untap them and do it again. But this doesn't require mana, so maybe that's why they toned it down. But yeah, reveal until you find an artifact and put it in your hand. And the rest go in your bottom of your library. So it's blue and black, and it doesn't even have to mill you. That's cool. That's actually really awesome. You don't even have to worry about losing cards. Like, okay, yeah, you might reveal some stuff and be like, oh, I really wish I could have drawn that, but now it's on the bottom. You're gonna friggin' cycle through your deck again the next turn. You know what I mean? Like your deck's gonna be changing a lot. With artifacts, you search, you fetch, you cascade into artifacts like crazy. Anyway, so don't even worry about that. You're gonna get what you need. And plus, it's got black in it, so you're gonna be running a black deck. And what does black have? All the tutors. What does blue have? All the draw power. You're gonna get the cards you want. This is just helping you get to a specific kind of card, an artifact card. And I think that's really cool. And the fact that it just doesn't have a cap. That's awesome, because again, Arkham Daxon, you had to have artifacts out for Daxon to be useful. If all you had was a Soul Ring out, you would reveal the top one. If it was a land, you're done. Yay! This one is just go until you find an artifact. I think that's really cool. I think it's really strong, and I'm going to enjoy this one going right into my brand. -3, target opponent loses life equal to the number of artifacts you control. What? What? So the other Saturday, I played my Brea deck, and cranial plating is an equipment that gives +1/+1 for every artifact I control, and I was getting like +24/+24 because I was Conjurer's Closeting. I'm sorry, I was doing Venser essentially. Venser the Planeswalker, white blue, and his +1 is I can exile a permanent and comes back onto the battlefield at the beginning of my next end step, or the next end step. So I was +1ing Venser, constantly bringing Brea in and out, and when she comes in the battlefield, she makes 2 artifacts. So every turn, I was making 2 more artifacts. Every time I cast one, I was putting charge counters on Golem Factory, and every 3 artifacts, I would remove them and get a Golem. I had Sharding Sphinx, so every time I hit somebody with an artifact, I got an artifact. And I was hitting people with 6 or 7 artifacts at a turn to start, and then obviously it multiplied as it went. So you're telling me I can -3 and just go away. You're dead. Because by now, hopefully you play him, like you could, if you have a good board state, you could play him, -3 him, and just kill somebody if they're at a low enough life, if the game's gone on for a decent amount of time. That is so cool. That is so stupidly strong. I love this freaking card so much. Let's talk about his -8. So let's again talk about he starts off at 5 and he only has a +1. So to get to 8, there's only one way to get to 8, and it's one at a time. So he's gonna go to 6 on his first turn, then 7, then 8. So turn 4 you can ult him, or you could try to keep him around, and then turn 5 you could try to ult him and keep him at 1. Again, you're probably gonna want to ult him, especially black's gonna have some recursion in there. Blue's also gonna have some recursion for like Mildek's, Psychic Spiral, for instance. Some other ways to get it back. So it's not the end of the world if you lose them. And plus, you're gonna probably struggle just to get to 8, unless you do a lot of control. -8, gain control of all artifacts and creatures target opponent chooses. One of my other decks is, again, Tana and Sidar, where I exist off making 1/1s and 2/2s that Sidar then makes unblockable. And then I either have a Mirror Entity or Jazal Goldmane out, and okay, I declare attackers. You can't block me because you don't have Flying or Reach. Oh, since you don't have blockers, Mirror Entity for 10. My 6 or 7 1/1s are now 10/10s. Or 2/2s, whatever they were at the beginning, are now 10/10s. Oh, by the way, Tana, she's a 10/10, so I'm going to get 10 blockers when she hits you. This would screw me. Keep in mind, you're taking control of. So, when it comes to other people's commanders, you're going to take somebody else's commander. And it's not gain control of until you lose Tezzeret. It's not gain control of until end of turn. You're just gaining control. It's just, your stuff's my stuff. Until it gets destroyed. Or until you find a way to take, what is it, Homeward Path? Or Arcane Lighthouse. One or the other. Homeward Path, I think, where, target are all players gain control of the cards that they own. Unless you can do that, I'm going to keep your shit. That's insane, man. Blue has a lot of copy and control magic, so they did blue-black artifact control stuff, and it's so cool. It's so cool. They put some black search in there by the reveal. They put some just straight damage by lose life, but it's based on artifacts, both things, and then just boom, I take your stuff, control. That, and plus it goes with Tezzeret, who is a control freak and just constantly wants to just, take over everybody else's stuff. Worked a little bit with Jace, wanted to take over what he had. Worked with Nicol Bolas, wanted to take over what he had. It's so good for his personality. I think they did so well with really all 3 of these Planeswalkers, and from what I understand, this Tezzeret is the one that's going in the Planeswalker deck. Normally, the Planeswalker deck, Planeswalker, is a little bit weaker, or kind of sort of weaker, than the deck, or the Planeswalker that's in the set that you have to open up packs with, or again, like me, buy singles. That means that there's a stronger Tezzeret coming. What? That has me so psyched. I cannot believe this. Okay, never mind. I was reading the comments because I thought I saw something interesting, but it wasn't as interesting as I thought. So, guys, let me make sure that's the last one. I think that is. Yep, because we're back to Yanni's expertise. Guys, if you are as psyched about this set as I am, it's only been a few cards, and 2 of them are from the Planeswalker decks. Not even like the actual set. Like, yeah, they're being released with the set, but they're not in like the regular set of the release. I think they're additional cards. Or are they? No, I think Tezzeret. Hold on. Let me look. So that Tezzeret is card number 190 out of 184. Here, let me show you guys. Is that the one? Yeah. So look right there. I know it's hard to see, but it does say number 190 out of 184. If you look all the way up at the top, okay, it's not going to show me. Hold on. Let's see. All right, so there. Aether Revolt, 7 out of 184. There's going to be 184 cards in this set. If Tezzeret and maybe the Ajani, let's look really quick. Probably, I think that says 185. It does say 185 out of 184. So those two are extras that aren't even part of the set because they're not even part of the set number, the 184 that we were told we were getting in Aether Revolt. So that means that if that's 190 and that's 185, there's at least 3 other cards, if not more. No, 4 other cards. Because 184 is the max, so 185 and 190, then 86, 87, 88, and 89, right? Yeah, 4. Okay, cool. Bleh, math. I just stay in school, kids. But yeah, so there's at least 4 other cards that we're getting in the set. Maybe more. Maybe 190 isn't the last number of the extras. Don't know. I don't think we've been told yet. But that's insane. These cards are already super cool. They're probably not even the strongest. We haven't even seen any of the legendary creatures we're going to get. Will we see Yahani? Will we see another dwarf legendary? Because the last dwarf legendary was, again, very tribal dwarf slash vehicles, which I believe Suarez did try to play that one on Commander Versus. I liked what he's trying to do. I think he got kind of a raw deal. Tribal dwarves is kind of hard to do, even with the new dwarves. Who knows? Maybe there will be more dwarves in Aether Revolt. That'd be really cool. Maybe Fabricate will be a bigger thing, and maybe it'll be a little bit stronger. I don't know. Who knows? We gotta find out as we do more. Guys, of course, if you enjoyed this episode of Magic the Gathering spoiler season, do leave me a like and a comment. It will let me know to keep doing videos like this. If this is your first time to the channel, definitely subscribe. We do more Magic stuff every time it's spoiler season for a new set. I also do WWE 2K17, Darkest Dungeons, Batman the Telltale series, and a bunch of other games on the series. Subscribe for more. Subscribe for just to show me some love. In the meantime, guys, you can follow me on Twitter at DM_cross. You can also follow the site that we use for this is Mythic Spoiler. You can follow them at Mythic Spoiler. Magic the Gathering is at Wizards_MTG. And I'll put all those links into my description below. Until next time, guys, that's all I got for y'all.